But the other thing is like, it's funny because we've debated this at times at the Ready, which is the company I work at, about like gossip and when, when it's okay and when it's not okay and whether it's toxic, et cetera. And where I've kind of landed on this is like, I think to be human is to gossip, actually. Like, I don't think that there is a way around it. I think that it can be quite healthy because effectively what gossip is doing, if you look at literature around like early tribes, what gossip is effectively doing is establishing rules. So it's like you and I, when I bring you a piece of gossip, what I'm really doing is saying, Hebba, this is the behavior that's unacceptable to me. It's not really about that. It's about me clarifying with you what I think is okay and how I want to be treated. So I don't think on its face it's necessarily bad. What I think is bad is when cycles of gossip never turn into anything. Like, we've all been in the, I've been a business partner, I've been a chief people officer. We've all been in the role where every week somebody comes with the same axe to grind. And it's just like, I want to talk shit about Margot. And it's like, dude, are we going anywhere with this? Or is this just like rinse and repeat? And I go, I'm really sorry that that's happening to you. What have you said? What have you tried? What's the conversation you want? Blah, blah. I'm doing my coaching. And then next week is just, we take it from the top. That's where I think it's really unproductive and where it starts to seep into the system and poison it.
Yeah, but what if the thing they're complaining about, like, you should change, but you don't have the power to change?
Give me an example.
Oh, I love this. A little bit of role playing on the podcast. Okay, let's say someone comes to HR with a situation with an employee, and the employee is a jerk to other people. They're consistently a jerk to other people. And the managers tried intervening. It's just not happening. So now they come to HR and they're like, why do we keep this person here who is a jerk? But you need that person. Usually it's a person in sales. I've seen this situation happen time and time again. You have a brilliant seller who's an utter asshole, but you can't get rid of them because they generate revenue.
Yep.
And so what if that gossip is less gossip and more like, literally, you need to get rid of this person. I'm going to keep complaining every week, but you as HR can't say, I have to go get rid of that person because they're going to bring in revenue for our company.
So I think as the HR person, you have two options in that situation. I think one option is if you agree with that employee and the manager, it sounds like, is also in agreement, then I do think there's a conversation with whoever has the decision rights to fire someone to say, are we willing to make the trade-off of this revenue even over our organization's culture? Yep. I can't personally make that decision, so somebody else needs to. If it was my decision to make, I'd say no. But if you guys want to make that trade-off, fine. But let's be clear that that's what we're doing. And if that is how it breaks, that's what I say to an employee. I'm like, look, bro, I hear you. I also think that guy's an asshole. And we need the money. And I've had the conversation, and the trade-off that was chosen is the money, even over the behavior. I can't talk to you about this anymore. There's nothing else I can do. And that's where the boundaries come into play, where it's like, we can't keep having this conversation because there's nowhere else for it to go. If there was a decision point, that decision has been made. And the decision we made was money even over culture. If that means that you can't stay here, that seems very understandable to me.
Ooh, I wonder how people are going to react to hearing that. Because I also feel the same way, or I'm like, I might as well just tell them, like, I can't make this. Some decisions are outside my control. That's the other interesting thing about HR. When employees come to me and they're like, you made this decision. And I want to be like, probably not. I probably gave guidance to actually make the opposite decision. But like, it's not my company. So I get vetoed sometimes, right? Like if it were my company, I would do it differently. I feel like every HR person listening to this probably thinks to themselves on a weekly basis, I wouldn't do it that way.
Of course.
But sometimes we have to we also don't have final say. So we should just cede to the person who does. But then I think the flip side is like a lot of HR people don't want to say, oh, well, the CEO made that decision.
Or why not?
Manage. Because we feel this like insane pressure to take accountability for everyone else. Exactly what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
We are seen often as we think it's better to be seen. I don't want to speak like in generalizations, but I do think a lot of HR people think it's better that we are the villain than like a CEO or someone else, even though I bet you the employees see right through it.
I think this is such an important point because I used to sit in much the same, like I took the same position that you're talking about. But here's the downside. One is the employees already know that you
100%.
don't have the final call. So when you sit there and like salute the flag, they know you're full of shit, which hurts your credibility. Two is you're a safe place for them to come and like vomit all of the things that they disagree with. And then either you like pat them on the head and they go away, which is patronizing and also ineffective, or you go and try to influence the person who actually did make the decision. And what happens in that situation is that person is now shielded by you from the real story and the real emotion out in the field. So you are not putting that, call it the CEO, in the seat to get the real data, get the real feedback from the population of how their behavior is being felt or heard or interpreted. And this is the cycle that we're talking about. You are taking responsibility for someone else's thoughts, feelings, or behavior. And as a result, this case, the CEO, and as a result, that CEO will continue to be less accountable for their own thoughts, feelings, and behavior. Because why should they be? They don't have to feel the pain. They're not taking the phone call. You are.
Yeah, definitely not. Like Oh, this is such a good point.
Yeah. And look, it's hard. The other thing is, and here's like the shift that's underneath that's like really important. And that frankly, I couldn't see until I was out of the role. I couldn't see this when I was still sitting in the seat with a CEO side by side. I will not speak for any other HR people, but I used to feel like a lot of my reputational value in the system was being seen as someone who had the CEO's ear, who could influence him, and who did kind of, I don't want to say toe the line, but like those things get wrapped up together because to me, it felt like if I didn't toe the line, I wouldn't have that trusting relationship and he wouldn't necessarily consider me like his confidant and his advisor anymore. I put those two things together where I was like, I am only going to be in this sort of privileged position with him if I toe the line. And what that prevented me from doing was holding him accountable to his behavior when it was shit and actually becoming a strategic leader myself, because I was mostly just seen as somebody who could manipulate somebody else really effectively. And like, yeah.